if I can give parents advice out there, is that you need to take this extremely seriously. And you need to realize that the days of being able to passively put your kids in front of a screen are long, long gone, if there ever was any. There's just too many agendas. There's too many hidden things. The people who create softwares, from my experience personally, they don't care what your opinion is as a parent. They don't care what your standards are. They don't care what your values. They care about what they care about. Create almost addictive type personalities, create bad self-images, create weakness in them.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, everybody, we're back. Part 2. We're talking about the importance of taking the extra effort to protect your young children's minds and what goes into their heads, in particular with a agenda that is very real to try to influence our kids more than we want anyone to influence our kids. Before that, though, I do have a question for you. It's kind of not the right time of year, but it's a good question. So, what is Santa's favorite state to visit?
The North Pole.
Idaho, ho, ho.
Oh, my.
Come on, that's pretty
I wanted
good.
to ask about the glue, though.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah, thanks for keeping up with that one.
Yeah, previous episode.
All right. So anyways, we were talking a little bit about things that we do to help with a neighbor kid over and just kind of understanding that. But, also.
Well, and with that too, what's interesting is, and we get into more examples. I'll tell you, everybody really needs to be careful, because even when you have friends over that aren't necessarily neighbors, maybe it's actually people that you spend a lot of time with, whether it's at church, whether it's at school, whether it's with sports, whatever it may be, everybody parents a little bit differently, and different families speak to their kids differently, and therefore their kids speak differently. Mm-hmm. And, we had an episode here where, again, Hunter was playing nicely and some friends came over, and great people, you know, but again, the way they parent, I would say, isn't maybe as strict as we do. It just
isn't as disciplined.
Yeah, as we do. And, they have a little more leeway with their child. Yeah. And so they allow their child to speak a little more freely, and sometimes it can come off a little disrespectful. Mm-hmm. And we had an episode where, their child was telling, other people that were here that they didn't like them. That they just didn't like so-and-so, and they didn't like so-and-so. And it was becoming kind of like where Hunter was starting to feel bad about it, because this friend came over and was telling her friends she didn't like them. Yeah. And so she came to me with this, which was awesome, trying to explain to me what was going on from a 5-year-old's perspective and how it was hurting her other friends. Mm-hmm. And then our girls got involved, our big girls got involved, and we're trying to ask her questions that would lead her to finish the story, because she just really couldn't, get it all out.
And she's trying to communicate it. Doesn't know how to say it.
Through the end, we realized what was happening. We got the full story eventually. Yeah. Through that too, we realized, we have to be protective with who our kids spend time with that are considered friends. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where we actually do spend more time with them, but sometimes too much time is not good in those situations either.
Yeah. When you realize, when you're in that situation, so we like hanging out with this couple, but at the same time, now our antennas are up, because, we're not necessarily letting Hunter just kind of wander out to the backyard with this other little girl who, might end, at least not for very long, where then situations could happen. And so those are just little things that we started paying attention to. And actually, we just had some people over, yesterday, and actually Hunter spent more time with the neighbor kid, right? Because she feels a little bit safer there, I think. And so it all worked out. We were still intertwining everybody, but we got our ears pretty wide open, to make sure we're protecting the situations, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
And then, so back to the screen time thing. again, I don't know how to stress this enough. If I can give parents advice out there, is that you need to take this extremely seriously. And you need to realize that the days of being able to passively put your kids in front of a screen are long, long gone, if there ever was any. There's just too many agendas. There's too many hidden things. The people who create softwares, from my experience personally, they don't care what your opinion is as a parent. They don't care what your standards are. They don't care what your values. They care about what they care about. And they have their own agendas to try to program youth in order to be able to do whatever they want to do with them later on. Create almost addictive type personalities, create bad self-images, create weakness in them.
Well, and on some of the things I've seen, not our children, but I've previewed, is right. I've seen even how they're trying to reprogram our children into what a real marriage, quote unquote, is.
Oh, sure. Trying to teach relationship advice,
yes.
Gender confusion,
yes.
all kinds of stuff. Like
yes.
a lot of anti-godly
yes.
values and principles.
And just because it was a good show a year ago,
yeah.
it's gotten worse ever since.
That's right. And so, we just had a situation yesterday, actually last night, that was pretty eye-opening to me. Because, some of our kids are, I think, more naturally just rule followers than others. They all are really good.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. But like you take Abby, and Abby is like, wants to be by the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of her personality where she's very detail oriented.
Yes.
And so details matter. So she wants to do details right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hunter, our bookend, right? Because we got our oldest and our younger. She's the same way. I just feel like they really... Hunter kind of prides herself on doing things right.
Yes, I agree with
about
that.
Asking first, about, hey, Mom, is this a good idea? Should I do this? Should I not do this? Before she just does it.
And she typically will stop what she's doing, even if it's like abruptly. If she's playing outside or if she's playing even if a friend's over, she'll go, I need to go ask my mom. Typically, that's what she always does. And I've always been like, thank you so much.
Yep.
Actually, that is okay. Or no, that is not okay. But thank you for bringing it to me.
Yeah. And so, with that, there's a few things that we let her play with and watch at night. There's a couple and you always do DVDs typically.
Typically, I stick to the DVDs.
Because the reason we will do an actual physical DVD, which is kind of funny, you can't even hardly find a place to buy a DVD anymore. And people might think it's really old school, but the reality is because it's a DVD, we know exactly if there are ads or not ads on there. We know what's in between the programs. We know other things that they can click on.
Yeah, they can't flip through other stuff. They can't find other things that, maybe you're interested in that. Correct.
Yeah, there's no options for other stuff. And so, with young kids' minds and, again, it's biblical. It doesn't say, hey, get strong enough to avoid temptation.
Correct.
It says just stay away from it altogether because you probably aren't strong enough. That's for all of us. It's a biblical warning for all of us in every season of life.
Yeah, don't tempt yourself.
Well,
don't
think
do
about
that.
our 5-year-old, though, who doesn't even understand what the word temptation really means, but still has to deal with it and live with it because she's a fleshly being. And so yesterday we had her watching something. What was it?
Yeah, she was watching a Bible study app.
Oh, that's right. It was a Bible study app.
And I've approved of it for years.
But it's online.
Correct.
It's not a DVD. It's actually an online program.
Online thing. So she had an iPad in front of her. And typically what happens is if I do have her on the iPad, I'm facing where I can see what she's watching.
Right.
Typically, if I'm hanging out, she's next to me on the couch. You and I are talking and hanging out. Or a big kid is next to her watching. So we typically see that she cannot click on anything else but what I've approved of.
Right.
Yes. Yesterday, though, there was a different situation.
Yeah, so what it was, we were just kind of doing a normal routine. You and I are decompressing at night, hanging out, and she has her headset on, and she wasn't necessarily facing us. She was still right next to us, but not facing us. And I just got up, I don't know what I did. I got up to go to the bathroom or grab something, I don't remember. And I was just walking past her, and I just decided to turn, and a lot of times I'll just turn, and I'll just give her a little kiss in the cheek while I'm, side looking at the screen and making sure. And when I did it, her cute little hands... Actually, when she saw me walk up over her cute little hands, she tried to cover the screen so I wouldn't see it. And I'm like, whoa.
What's that about?
What is happening? And then she just went into, well, I only clicked on this and I only did this. And, obviously she's starting to fumble. So even in her own heart, she knew she did something wrong. But again, here's this rule following, beautiful little girl.
Yeah.
Who, if you give her a choice that's conscious, she's going to choose the right thing.
Every time she will.
But because she's watching this thing, and it was probably a little pop-up or a thing on the side, and it was just like it ran out, hey, here's the suggestion for the next thing, and you click on it, it turned into something. And it was something biblical. That was like, it was like a YouTube, go to the next station kind of thing, I think is what happened.
Okay.
But yet it wasn't designed for a 5-year-old, if that makes sense.
And it wasn't approved by us.
And it wasn't
regardless,
approved by
it wasn't approved by us.
Right.
But what was interesting, just to back up, is, again, mom and dad, if you're sitting here like, oh, okay, so I've had those kind of scenarios. Here's, if I can just give a little suggestion, because we've done it wrong too. So can I give a little suggestion here? Is, first of all, thank goodness your discernment got up and you took a side look versus being, on your phone or not, not paying attention for a minute. You looked, we caught the act.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're not saying she's a bad person. We didn't get upset. We didn't start yelling. We took the opportunity where you're like, hey, honey, can you come here talking to me? Like, can you come here? And I was like, sure, of course. And we handled it together. So both of us felt like we were engaged
That's right.
in the situation. And you explained to me what you just saw and what just happened. And I said, okay, I don't know what that app is or what she saw. Hunter, can you show us again how you even got to that?
Right.
And so we asked her to step us back through how she even got to it.
Yeah.
And she was nervous. Of course, she's nervous. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, I need you to show me. So show me what you did. And she did. And again, it was some sort of pop-up-y thing that, almost like you finished this, so click this type thing. And you and I both looked at her and we're like, that wasn't approved by us, and that's not okay. That is not okay. We are not okay with this. We did not say, hey, you're a bad child. Right. You never listen. Why did you click that? Like, who do you think you are? We very calmly were like, we love you, but you didn't get this approved. And because you didn't approve this, there's now going to be time away from any iPads for you. All electronics, that means DVD, everything for her is being shut down. I think you said 30 days. I can't remember what you said. 30 days. We all need to reset ourselves that way. We all need to. If we start going down a path that is unhealthy, we need to stop doing it.
That's right.
And not just saying, oops, I won't do that again tomorrow. We'll give her another chance. By the way, probably today she'd be fine. That's not the point. But we are teaching her, if something's unhealthy, we're stepping away from it. We do not need unhealthy things in our life.
Yep.
And there's other things to do. And so you and I were completely on the same page. Like right away, you could tell she was upset. Not because she got in trouble, but because of the whole thing. Because she's not a rule breaker. Like, she's not. And so she was kind of upset, but was like, okay, that's fine. Okay. I actually think she was happy, But what was neat is, okay, you and I finished up that. And then after that, it was kind of like time for prayers. It was time for kids to get ready to go and have their quiet time and all that kind of stuff. So what did we do? We wrapped up, did that, had prayers. But then you kind of pulled her aside and chatted with her for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure that she understands what's going on, and also just keep reconfirming that we know that she is an honoring kid.
Right.
Like, I don't want that thought to seep into her head for a minute, like, oh, am I a bad kid? And like, no, you're not a bad kid.
No.
You're not a bad kid. And in fact, and I didn't explain this to her, but in fact, I'm kind of like, see, this is the kind of stuff that almost we can take blame for.
Yes.
And here's the part though, excuse me, that is I know parents will resonate with this, is a major frustration point. Like, we as parents don't want to have to fight against whoever's making these things. Yeah. We don't want this stuff. And it's like, there's no way to opt out of this stuff. You know what I mean? So then, here we are at a place where we're trying to figure out all these extra 10 steps to creatively protect our children when it should never even be a case, but it is. And that's just the fact of where we're at right now. But anyway, so I was building into her that, you know what, I know how great of a kid you are. Okay. And so with me, I know with us, we walk away from that situation like, see, we got to go back to things that we know that work. And if it's only 3 DVDs that ever work, then so be it. Who cares? And that's why us as parents also, we've just made the decisions that all of our kids are going to have to choose other things to do outside of screen time. This is one thing I see a lot of parents not do right. And I'm not trying to come across judgy, but we're talking real talk here. I watch so many parents, because they're so exhausted from their everyday life that is super busy, both working jobs, dealing with stresses, dealing with finances, inflation's making everything twice expensive. We're all trying to squeeze, like we're all under so much pressure. So then when you get home and your kid has all this energy and you're like, okay, well, just go get in front of a screen so you can get a break. It's one of the worst things you could ever do. And here's what we've learned from experience. If you give the kid a game of Monopoly and give them or her an opportunity to sew something or whatever, create something, right? Build some kind of whatever. Just put a bunch of like innocent games in front of them. If you have all those options out, they'll choose them and they'll have fun with them. If their options are those things or nothing. Or you can just sit there and look at the ceiling if you want to, right? But what a lot of parents do is they have some of those options, but they say, but also we have an iPad.
Right.
What are the kids going to choose? It's so much more stimulating, which isn't healthy, to do the iPad. Right. So don't even make it a choice. You know what I mean? And you'd be surprised how much your kids will learn. I mean, our kids are out there planting gardens and they're jumping on trampolines, and Drews is out working on his jump shot in the driveway right now. You know what I mean?
Right. And the kids they're working on the sports they love, whether they're practicing tennis out there or whether they're golfing or whether they're having a good book time together or whether again, I don't want to say we never do screen time because we for sure do. Do you know what I mean? But with it being limited so that there is other opportunities for our kids to go and enjoy the life.
Yeah, I hear people say sometimes, well, my kid's just not into sports. He's way more into like computers and stuff. I'm like, well, I think Drews would be too if I let him sit and have a choice of an iPad or practicing basketball.
Sure.
Every kid would.
Yes.
Yep. And then of course, so he's never going to get good at sports. And then, of course, he's going to say, well, I'm not a sports person. No, you just got to get it out there and let them play and let them compete and let them have some fun and let them goof around and give opportunities like that and do some of that stuff with them if you need to. But it's just our job is the point.
Right.
This is part, if you're going to have kids, there's responsibility involved with it.
I agree.
We have to own it. And I get it because we get tired too. We have multiple businesses. We have multiple things going on. We're dealing with us. We're dealing with stresses. But you know what? At the end of the day, these kids aren't just our kids. These are God's kids. And it's our job to steward them. So I'll get off my soapbox and go to the next episode. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.